We all have our individual ways to approach belief in the supernatural, including non-belief. Yes, all are valid. When we hold space for one another's beliefs, we cultivate our compassion and affirm our shared humanity. Then we can be safe. Then we can be free. This is Free to Believe with Eniola Who. Amidst the countless responses I got on Twitter when I asked people to talk to me, Yeye stood out. Not only because of her unconventional Buddhist beliefs for one who lives in Nigeria, it was her generosity to share what she knew with anyone who showed interest. That generosity came through in her interview where she enthusiastically shared her knowledge and offered gifts to everyone on set. Meet Yeye, a designer and mom in Lagos, who is on a spiritual journey that has taken her far east. Hi everyone, welcome to Free to Believe with Eniola Who. Today I have with me Yeye, and Yeye lives in Lagos, and she's a Buddhist, which is obviously very different, and I want her to share her experiences with you all today so that you can get to know what she believes and see for yourself. So Yeye, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you believe.
My name is Yeye. It means mother. People always ask me, is your name Yeye? Or people pronounce it in different ways.
Okay.
But I practice Buddhism. I've been practicing it for, I think, like 10 years.
Wow.
Now? Around about 10 years, yeah.
Okay. So were you born into it or did you come? Well, 10 years, that means you converted.
Yes, I did.
Oh, cool. From what?
That's an interesting question. So I was born Christian.
Okay.
No, sorry. I was raised Christian.
Okay, raised Christian.
I think around in secondary school, I became, agnostic. And from there I became atheist, then I became Muslim, then I was a humanist. And I think I was just basically searching.
Okay.
And searching for what was right fit for me. And then I started to practice. So how I started practicing Buddhism is actually really funny. So 10 years before I started practicing, I have this absolutely mad friend. His name is George. He grew up in the UK. And he'd come back, and I was in his house for my friend's wedding. All of us went kind of like for the bachelor's eve in his house. And there was something in his room, and I could remember asking him, George, what's that? And he's like, oh, it's his koans. And I'm like, what do you use it for? And he's like, it's a Buddhist. And I'm like, so yes, what do you use it for? And he goes, it chants. And I'm like, I can remember thinking, this guy is not okay, so his own way will always not be normal. And I can remember almost exactly, and there was no further discussion. I didn't ask him anything. I didn't, and like almost 10 years after that, when I'd been searching through, it's just like you're looking for something, but there's no perfect practice. Because I can sit down and say I'm Buddhist and say we don't discriminate, but then you now look at places like Burma, where the Buddhist monks are killing Muslims. And it's kind of like, so monks can kill? When it comes to the monks, well, I don't practice a religion. I don't practice a form of Buddhism that deals with monks.
Okay.
So there are different kinds of Buddhism.
Okay,
which is also something that people don't know. But yeah, it's
like how many kinds? You don't have to say though. You can just say like
so
how many.
So when Buddhism left India, it kind of spread. So it went to. So it had what was called the lesser vehicle, the lower vehicle, the middle way. So what they practice in Burma is more what is called the lower vehicle, if I'm correct. I don't know how to pronounce the words, but I know that one is Mahayana and something. So that has the monks, it has the temples, it has the, and so kind of when I try to describe my Buddhism, I practice Nichiren Daishonin Buddhism. So there's Zen Buddhism. So
I've heard of that.
My type of Buddhism spread to Japan. So from India, it went to Japan. So it went to different parts of Asia. And as it moved to different parts of Asia, it kind of assimilated the cultures and kept all, so it went from India to China to Japan.
Okay.
So what I practice is called Nichiren Daishonin Buddhism. There are different types of Buddhism. They're different. They're actually quite different. They have different basic principles,
so
but
yours
all
is
the same. So it's called Nichiren Daishonin Buddhism.
Daishonin.
And even in Nichiren Daishonin Buddhism,
There's
so I practice Nichiren Daishonin Buddhism, and I'm a member of the organization called SGI, which is Soka Gakkai International. It's based in Japan. It's Soka Gakkai literally means value creation. And it's about creating value through peace, dialogue, and education.
Nice.
And so that's my Buddhism now. I got started with Buddhism after I spoke to George. 10 years later, I'm in this dark place. Like, you know, when you get so depressed that there's just no light. So I called George and I'm like, you know, that thing that you say you're doing should be. And I read something about Steve Jobs and him being Zen, and I'm like, okay, maybe that's where I need to be. And I had thought of myself as, okay, maybe I need to be in an intellectual setting with intellectual people, and maybe it would help me. And he says, I don't know if you people know Remy Lagos. She used to be a fashion designer.
I know the line.
So he said, you know, Remy's my friend, talk to Remy. She's in Lagos. She'll hook you up with a meeting. I can remember calling Remy, I'm going for a meeting, and Remy goes, you know, this is where we have the meeting in Yaba, somewhere that I had passed every single day of my life. On Montgomery, right next door to one of my friends' houses I used to go until I had no idea that they had Buddhist meetings there. I remember I went for my first Buddhist meeting. I sat down, and then they're saying people should share experiences. So how we practice our meetings in Buddhism is very different from obviously how we organize. So anybody can come and talk and share an experience, or because we believe that everybody has a Buddha nature and everybody has wisdom. So first of all, I think I expected to see people sitting down on the ground cross-legged. So you're talking about misconceptions. You know, I thought I was going to see one big statue of Buddha somewhere in the, and I just saw normal people. And then they started giving experiences, and this woman stood up, and she was one of these women that sell fish in the market. So I'm first of all like, okay, you know, we're the intellectual people, not being a snob, but when you hear Buddhism, you know, you just think that there'll be all these people talking about, you know, the purpose of life. And, you know, she was this market woman. She couldn't even speak good English, you know, and she was talking about her experience and her Buddha nature and her trying to find, and so I was a bit intrigued. So I was like, okay, wow. And then there was this other woman, and she stood up and she gave an experience about how, you know, her first marriage or something, she was left at the altar. Second marriage, she was left at the altar. Third marriage was, and I'm looking at her like, oh my God, how is this a fortunate experience, you know? And she's smiling, and I'm like, wow, this is weird, you know? And she's talking about how, you know, she realized that she had to face all of those challenges for her to understand who it was that she was and challenge her Buddha nature, and how those experiences were a challenge for her to grow herself and unlock her full potential. So I was first of all, okay, so these people share these kind of embarrassing stories. No, I'm serious. It was like, and then when I finished the meeting, everybody just said hi and bye.
There was no greeting pastor after.
There was no, if you're just coming for the first time. And I
offering. Was that offering?
We don't do offering. I was upset. I was really upset because at first I was like, but they don't even have plenty members. You know, they're not even saying, new member, come, let's treat you properly. They're telling me bye-bye, you know, and I'm like, even in churches, you know, they'll give you intro pack. What do I even know that I'm doing here? And I was very upset. So I can remember Remy calling me and she's going, how did you like it? And then I'm like, I complained. These people did not acknowledge me as a new member. I'm serious. I was so upset.
That's the most Yoruba concept ever have. Did you acknowledge me? You can't grieve.
No, because I expected to be talked through the process, encouraged to join. And she goes, so is it encouragement you went there for? Acknowledgement. She's like, see, it's your life. Oh. Nobody's there to acknowledge you. You're there to acknowledge your own life. You know, nobody has, this is not about whether people know you're there, they don't know you're there. This is you being true to yourself, finding happiness, finding that potential. And if it doesn't work for you, it's not by force. Please be going, And she gave me the whole, this practice is about your happiness, about your life. You're not looking at third parties. And she told me something. She's like, it's either it works for you or it doesn't work for you. I was even more upset because they're even being rude to me again, as in there's no we're sorry, don't worry, when you go back next time we'll tell you who to go and meet. And so she goes, chant for 1 week. If it works for you, fine. If it doesn't work for you, then you gotta look for what works for you. And I decided that this woman is so rude, and these people have no respect, and that I was going to chant for 1 week just so that I could go back and tell them that
this is bull.
It doesn't work. It's bull. What am I even saying?
Mm-hmm. So when you say chant, what do you mean chant?
So what we do is we say, so we don't meditate.
Oh, okay.
We chant. So when we chant, we say Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And Nam Myoho Renge Kyo basically means that I devote myself to the law of cause and effect through sound.
Wow.
So it basically, for me, how I translate that is I take control of my life, and I say of my actions that the causes that I will, the causes have the effects, and so I basically own that. And then it's basically like you're pledging that you're going to ensure that your causes are positive because of, so it's kind of, for me, very much I take responsibility for my life, for my actions, and for my outcomes, which was something that up until that point I hadn't done.
Was that a hard pill to swallow? Because I think that is one of the, because when bad things happen to us, we're like, what did I do to deserve it? And then someone tells you to take responsibility. You're like, are you trying to say that's my fault?
Let me give you something. I did this chant challenge for 60 days, or I'd never chanted non-stop for 60 days. And on the 60th day, armed robbers came to my house.
Oh God.
Armed robbers came to my house and we were supposed to travel, they stole our passports, they stole laptops, they stole everything. They were physically, they hit a couple of my friends. And I can remember going to the center and saying, armed robbers came. And they're like, you're so fortunate,
Oh, I'll punch someone in the face.
That. And then I'm like, are these people for real? And I'm like, what about karma catching the armed robbers? But so the funniest thing was that we were supposed to go to India. We didn't even have enough money. So miraculously, funny enough, in a week, every single thing that was stolen from us, we got back. And how it's like iPhone 6, you get back an iPhone 8 kind of thing. So everything was kind of like upgraded. It was how we even got our passports back with no problems, no stress, It was almost so what we believe in Buddhism. So the Buddhist belief is that sometimes those negative things that happen in your life, they build you. They're experiences that build you. Because if your life was without problem throughout, you wouldn't develop into the kind of person you are. So it's kind of like the process of growth. So it's like growing pains. But at that point, I'm like, these people are not serious.
Yeah. You don't want to hear that when you're hurting.
So I can give you an example of when I was robbed. If I hadn't been practicing, right, that robbery would have put me into depression.
True.
A kind of depression that would have been difficult for me to take any kind of positive action immediately. But because I had been chanting, I was in a different life state. So it was a very unfortunate thing that happened. But it made me also realize a number of things about myself. What chanting does for me personally is that it helps me calm my brain. I can't stop my mind. It's always...
A lot of people don't realize, correct me if I'm wrong, that Buddhism is not, it's a religion, but it's not there's no God. Like Buddha is a man. Is that true?
So I can only speak for the form of Buddhism that I practice. There are other forms of Buddhism that actually, so I don't know, but I guess they have the statues that they bow to and stuff.
Right.
I will say this about religions in general and practices. So yes, like you said, Buddhism is very much a practice. There was a question in the questions you sent that was about, are you allowed to practice Buddhism and other things?
Yes, I was going to ask that.
I go to church.
Okay.
Once in 3 years, kind of thing.
That's a curveball. I was like, oh shit.
Because another thing that we have in Buddhism is called actual proof. So if you don't experience actual proof, which was Remy telling me, if you're chanting for 1 week and it's not working for you, please go and do something else. It's not for you. If it works for you, then so if you do not personally experience actual proof, then so it's like the parts of the messages that resonate with me, I take and I learn. Because in Buddhism we believe everything is Buddhism, and you learn from everything. Positive, negative, both the things you agree with and the things you don't agree with. You learn from everything, and that's why it's value creation. It's about continuous learning to enable you, first of all, value to yourself. So you practice first for yourself. So you must first practice for yourself, have your own human revolution. So it's basically, you cannot change your environment and external things if you do not first change yourself. So there's a saying, you're never supposed to seek the sutra outside yourself. For a lot of people that would have maybe complained, but they could see how I had changed. So there's a lot of, like my sister, my elder sister, she's very religious, she's very much like, we'll be praying for you, but even her, she can see the difference in my life, in who I am as a person. I mean, it's not like I've magically become perfect. I mean, I have struggles and battles every day, but I'm now better positioned to deal with them than I was before.
So, do you feel like you found your spirit's home?
So, it's very interesting because I don't know.